Welcome to the Retirement DNA podcast. I'm Aaron Johnson, and we believe that you deserve financial advice based on your best interest. In our podcast, we discuss all aspects of retirement planning. And today we want to talk about a question that we get all the time. I don't know where this has come from, but we constantly hear it. And as a matter of fact, we just heard it the other day in the first meeting. But the question is retirement tax-free? And no matter who comes in or what age they are, they always have the same variation of a question. They say that I hear taxes end for retirees at age 65 or 69 or 70 or 72. We've heard 75, regardless of what their income is. And they don't think that they're going to have to pay taxes after that age that they've heard. And again, I don't know where this keeps coming from, but we need to put a stop to it because you will always pay taxes on your income, your IRA distributions, pensions, capital gains, and Social Security if they're over a certain amount. And since most people follow conventional wisdom and do what they're told, what they're taught from the big brokerage firms, where do you think most people have their retirement savings? That's right. In their retirement accounts, in their traditional 401ks, 457s, 403bs, and traditional IRAs. Conventional wisdom tells us to take the tax deduction now, defer taxes until a later date, because you're going to be in a lower tax bracket. Well, guess what? Retirement is the later date. Now everything that you take out of your qualified account is now taxable. So when you look at your retirement accounts and the balance says $500,000, remember, not all of that is yours. You've got a silent partner in those accounts, the IRS. So if you're in a 24% tax bracket, of that $500,000, only $380,000 of that is yours. The other $120,000 is going to end up going to the IRS. With qualified retirement accounts, the rate at which you are taxed can change depending on your tax bracket. And that depends on which elected officials are in office and what they're doing with tax brackets, right? So they can increase or decrease their share of your account without your permission. Isn't that nice? And all they have to do is pass a law saying that they're going to increase tax brackets. And if you just take a quick look at our national debt calculator, I looked at it before this podcast, and it's just over $30 trillion. That comes out to $91,142 for every man, woman, and child in this country. So my guess is the tax brackets are going to be going up in the future. And if you have pension, Social Security that covers most of your fixed expenses, if not all of your expenses, one of the strategies that you really need to think about doing is converting some of your qualified assets to a Roth IRA. Yes, the catch is you're going to have to pay taxes now, but you're not going to ever have to pay them again later. So you're essentially buying out the IRS at today's tax rates. You're not ever going to pay taxes again, or your spouse or your kids. They're never going to have to pay taxes on the money that they inherit from that, right? So we know what taxes are going to look like for the next few years, but we don't know what they're going to look like past that, right? They might stay the same. You might get a couple years where they decrease, but we know that over the longer term, they're going to be going up. So we might as well convert it now, pay a little bit more now versus paying a whole lot more in the future. At age 72, you are required to start taking required minimum distributions from your qualified accounts, and those RMDs can become a real tax issue if you don't need or want that additional income. And the way that this works, so just as an example, we have a client that came into our office. He's 60 years old, and he knows that he's going to have to take $10,000 out of his IRA in 5 years when he starts to draw that retirement. So if we assume that his account grows at about 6%, and then he starts his distribution in 5 years, and assuming he's going to live until 95, he alone, just on his distributions and the $10,000 that he needs to take out, he would pay just over $200,000 in taxes. When he passes away and his spouse inherits the account, she's going to pay taxes. Then his kids are going to inherit the account and they're going to pay taxes. And they would have paid just over $345,000 total in taxes. So the spouse and kids would pay another $145,000 on top of his $200,000 already. But if he had converted his $250,000 IRA over the next 3 years, he would have only paid a total of $62,500. That's a savings for him and his family of $282,000 in taxes. That's major money back in your pockets. If you want to leave it to the IRS later on, you absolutely can do that. But right now, you might as well put it back in your pocket and in your beneficiaries. Now, does it make sense to always convert funds to a Roth IRA? Absolutely not. But let us take a look at it for you. You might be surprised with a little tax planning just how much you can save. Another area in which we see a lot of tax issues are these non-qualified brokerage accounts, right? You put your stocks in them, maybe some mutual funds or ETFs. And we've had several people over the years come in with in excess of $1 million in these accounts. And they want to reallocate, but they're so scared of capital gains. We took a look at one client's account, and he had just over $1.5 million in there, but he had over $800,000 in capital gains. So yeah, no wonder he's afraid to make any changes, because if he sells anything, he's going to have to pay a lot in capital gains. So what we do with non-qualified brokerage accounts is make sure that we have a tax management strategy in place. We work with your accountant, your CPA, to see how much tax loss harvesting can we do throughout the year? How much capital gains can we realize and then reallocate those funds? This way, no one stock or one holding becomes so big that you can't sell it due to taxes. We also, when we're able to, we don't use mutual funds, right? They're just not very tax efficient. So we tend to use individual stocks, or we use ETFs that tend to be more tax efficient. We can sell them when they're down to create that loss, buy something very similar, and then have it go back up if it's down. And many of you have already seen something like this, right? You've experienced a time when your mutual fund has gone down over the course of a year, but you have a capital gain distribution that you have to pay taxes on. They're just not very tax efficient. And this all goes back to a podcast that we did earlier on regarding asset location, right? We want to make sure that those investments that are not very tax efficient are in the correct account. It's very important when you hold assets that you know where they should be located, right? Which account are they in? We actually see a lot of times clients hold tax-free municipal bonds in their IRAs. Well, that doesn't make any sense to do. You're not going to get the tax-free benefit from those bonds because they're in an IRA that you pay taxes on when the money comes out. They belong in a non-qualified brokerage account where you're going to get the tax benefit from the tax-free municipal bonds. And we haven't even talked about the fact that typically by the time you retire, kids are out of the home. You no longer get that child tax credit. And for many of you, you'll have your home paid off and no longer have the mortgage deduction. So all of those things lead to paying more in taxes during retirement. So as you can see, yes, you're going to be paying taxes in retirement. You're going to continue to have to do that. And from what we've seen, they can potentially be higher than what you're currently paying while you're working because of the deductions and because of required minimum distributions once you hit age 72. So come down, sit with us. Let us help you not just create an investment plan, but a whole retirement income plan that encompasses tax planning as well. Our main goal at the Dwayne Johnson Group and Bridger Financial Services is to make sure that our clients know that they can make it to and through retirement and spend with confidence during those years. We want to make sure that they have financial security in any economy. Thank you for listening to the Retirement DNA podcast today. If you have questions or would like to sit down with us for an initial consultation to see if you're on track to meet your secure retirement, give us a phone call, 951-244-6702. Again, that number is 951-244-6702. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe to the podcast. Tell your friends and family if you think that they would benefit from the information. You can also check us out on Dwayne Johnson Group on YouTube. We're going to be doing market updates and educational videos there. And you can always find us at DwayneJohnsonGroup.com or BridgerFinancialServices.com. Thank you and have a great day.
Investment advisory services offered through Bridger Financial Services, LLC, a registered investment advisor in the state of California. Insurance products and services are offered through Dwayne Johnson Group, LLC, affiliated company. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Dwayne Johnson Group, LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Dwayne Johnson Group, LLC.